So Forest beat, I was going to say Leicester. I'm getting ahead of myself. Palace by 1-0. They move up to 8th in the league. And come this time Friday, in 2 hours, we could be 5th. Welcome to Happy Old Red. Oh, good evening, everybody. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome to Grumpy Old Reds. We got a full panel to discuss the beautiful result that was Forest 1, Crystal Meth Palace 0. Oh shit! Hold on. Okay, there we go. And yeah, Eddie and Ketia. Hate to say I told you so. I hate to say I told you so. You two down the bottom. We'll come to that in a bit. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit the like. Make sure you're subscribed if you are new here. Boys, how we all doing?
Good.
Are we happy?
I can proudly say I'm glad to be a whore rather than a gore tonight.
Let me, how are you, bro?
Yeah,
Ready
all good.
to break that guitar out?
Almost. Come Friday, 10 o'clock, possibly.
Oh shit, I'm getting nervous about that one. I really am. I really am. Ben, what are you saying, mate? How did you find the game yesterday?
I thought it was brilliant, and it was in stark contrast to talking to Rob prior to the game, who just wanted to chat about Cooper for about an hour.
Many things were discussed in that conversation, and also shout out to Darren, who came up and talked to me in crypto before the game. We enjoyed that conversation, didn't we?
Yeah, there was a few people who came and said hello. So shout out to you guys.
Darren says from Matt, who didn't claim his shirt.
Darren says he watches every gore religiously, but he has to wait till his wife goes to bed.
Oh, get the tissues ready.
Darren, yeah, why? It's good to see you all in the chat. Chat. I've been talking to Chap here. I've got Chappy on the mind. Good to see the regulars. All right, let's jump into this. And we'll jump into it with the legend Noah with the 199. Evening, everybody. What a win yesterday. It really was. Was it this, Darren? Was it this, Darren, you're talking to? Darren Wells?
You don't know, do you? Yeah, I think it was. I'm sure he said his surname was Wells.
Yeah, he's a legend. And speaking of another legend, Sue in the chat with the £10 already. Kick it off early. Rob's got his shirt on. Someone is missing one off their washing line, he says. Well, at least he's not wearing his forum jumper, which is becoming famous right now. It really is. And oh my God, Jessica. Fires straight back.
Confiscate a card.
Back. With £50. Evening, gents. Top half of the table and only going up. Jessica, thank you.
I know what Jess is doing. She's getting in before Noah. She's getting in before Noah.
I didn't realise Ed was such an expensive date.
Sod this going against him bit by bit. I'm going full in.
Full Chris Wood style. Bang it in against Hendo, isn't it? Thank you so much, Stuart, for the 10. Thank you so much, Noah, for the 199. Thank you so much, Jessica, as well, for the 50. And Red's 54 becoming a member. You absolute legend. Can we get some hearts on all of those super chats? And Fraser as well with the 10 months. Absolute legends. Okay, let's jump. I'm so excited. This is like my 6th podcast of the day, but I don't care because we've won. I'm knackered, but let's jump into this one. Who's desperate to kick us off? Who desperately wants to share their thoughts?
Go on. I just want to say that there was just so much to like about last night, including a couple of stellar performances from a few players that we maybe some had written off, but there's also one player that we were hoping would show something in a position that he hasn't been tested in yet. And I thought Anderson really shone it, especially in that first half. Some of the skill, even Messi, like, honestly, and even commentators were going crazy over it. But another thing that really stood out yesterday, which is something that me and Ant have spoken about for a while, is the atmosphere. What's going on? Oh God! But see, I'm not reading the chat. But Laurie, you started early, mate. But
he always starts with OTD. I can't remember which way round it is. That'll do. Go on, us.
Atmosphere yesterday was as good as it's been for at least a season or so. And would you say so? Because it sounded like it. I wasn't lucky enough to be there last night, but atmosphere seemed like it was sustained throughout the game, and the fans
there were periods during the game where it was really quiet. And you know what? I won't steal your thunder, but no, I'll let you go. Before I say my bit.
Yeah,
but,
so
there were times last night when it was really quiet.
Yeah,
towards the end,
it
got really cool.
Yesterday from watching it from my point of view. Right, so the guys that did go to the game, obviously they saw a different side of it. What I was focusing on and performance for a start, which I thought, like I said, in the first half, he was unlucky not to score that goal, that move, where he actually managed to get the shot away. A little bit more composure might have got a more meaningful shot on goal, but he was really impressive. The only thing I will say about him is I don't think he's got the short range passing of Morgan Gibbs-White. That's the only thing that lets him down. But his tenacity, his bravery was really exemplary yesterday. And you got to say, give a massive shout out to Matz Sels as well, who's again proven himself as our number one. But actually, I don't want to take anybody else's fun. So much to like about last night. Most important thing was the result, obviously, but it was more comfortable than a 1-0 win yesterday. For me, to carry on, guys, and jump in.
Right.
Wait, just before you jump in, Anne, is everyone now happy with the layout, right? Because I don't know what it's meant to be. All I know is I always get Anne saying I'll have to be bottom left, right? Is everyone happy with the layout? Do we need a poll on the layout?
We need to shrink Rob's square. It's a rectangle.
Anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah, obviously, I'm absolutely delighted with the win. We really needed that win. We needed to get that home form sorted out, and hopefully it's the first of many to come. The game itself, I've got to be honest with you guys, there were times, quite a few times, where there was such a lull in the game. Literally nothing was happening. I turned around at half time and I said to my brother, we've got to, it seemed to be missing passion and urgency. It was almost like a friendly game at times. Neither team was really going for it. There was a lot of passing about and not much happening. Now, granted, we did actually create several really good chances, despite what I've just said in that first half. So I can't knock the boys for that. I'm not complaining, by the way. I'm just saying there were times during the game where it really fell flat, and consequently, the atmosphere matched it. Second half, especially once we got the goal and we were going for it, the crowd really lifted. Because, it's always a tricky one, isn't it? Should the crowd lift the players or should the players lift the crowd? My personal feeling is that you need something to grab hold of. That's why sometimes a game can be dull, a crushing tackle goes in, the crowd goes up, and it totally changes the atmosphere. So what happens on the pitch, I think, is more important with regard to the atmosphere. The game was, like I say, it wasn't the best game in the world. I don't know if I'm being too blinded, but if I was a neutral, I don't think I'd have come away saying, wow, what a game that was. There seems to be a lot of flatness. However, as Ez has alluded to, there were some outstanding performances. And I tweeted when I got home last night that I wanted to give flowers to our Mr. Anderson, who I thought was absolutely... You can see where the nickname Geordie Maradona comes from, can't you? Mm-hmm. Some of that little dribbling through that, wow, it was just amazing to watch.
So does that mean we're in agreement? Does that mean we're in agreement he's better than Danilo?
Shut up, wanker. So, all in all, it was a great performance by Anderson. And what people need to understand is, and it's a stat that I think is incredible, is that he is number one for winning duels. Number one in the Premier League. He's above Bruno Guimaraes, who I believe is second. Anderson does an intercept, wins a matchup. What's the word I'm looking for? Are you listening to me? What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, we're listening. We're just distracted by
I just said it. Jules, that's it. Shut up, Jules, right? For Jules. He wins a duel every 10 minutes that he's been playing this season. Bruno Guimaraes is second, and his is every 18 minutes. So that guy needs some real kudos for what he's doing. Not kudos as in punching folk. Real kudos for what he's doing, because that sometimes people miss that because it's not the glamour side. But not only can he win duels, he's also creative as well. He can progress with the ball. I think the guy's going to be a bit of a star for us. So that was one. Obviously, the other two that I have to call out are Chris Wood and Matz Sels, for reasons that they've been pretty well trodden upon, me included. But they're at the moment, they are both absolutely gold dust for us. You know what I mean? We've got a goal scorer that scores goals, and we've got a goalkeeper that's now showing that he can pull out the spectacular, because some of those saves, even from in the Trent end, down the far end, something like the tipping over the bar and that were absolutely unbelievable. So they deserve. And the one last one I'm going to bring up right now, because I've been blabbering on, is Jota. He's going to be such a fan favorite. He comes on and he, like what I was saying when I said to my brother, we need some energy, man, he brought that. As soon as he came on, he was everywhere. And we all saw the way he won the corners, you know, down, absolutely fantastic. So I'd like to see him start against Leicester, but that's another discussion. So that's my brief overview of the game. Not
brief. Man. This isn't the forum. You're lucky I was distracted by these jokers in the chat.
You know what? That's what was going on. I was starting to think this is more like a forum.
Yeah, it was. Before I bring the rest of the boys in, let me just catch up with the super chats and the members. Fraser, thank you so much for the 10 months. Absolute legend. Andrew, new member as well. Legend. Looking good. Thank you so much. Noah's starting off on Jessica already with the 199. Jessica, do you want to start beef with me?
Jess, I got your back. Jess.
Here we go. And Stoney with the 2-year anniversary.
Wow.
2 years. Absolute legend. Jessica fires straight back. No thanks, Noah, she says. LOL. Thank you so much, Jessica.
Love this.
Noah again with the 199. The Sultan after the game yesterday on about Woody. Was he on about Woody or he had Woody? Which one was it?
Probably both.
Probably both. And the legend Stuart with the £20. Thank you so much, Stuart.
He says the original high roller.
Sharky, mate. Let's not forget Sharky and the rest of them. Stuart says, my fears are the January transfer window. So many players impressed. The vultures are circling. Biggest test we will have this season. By the way, Rob for 10 Downing Street. Oh, you got Rob's first ever votes. Thank you so much.
yeah, that's true. First ever.
Regarding that, my answer to that would be simple. Mr. Marinakis, the guy has got ambition. He won't want to let anybody go January.
He'll spit on anyone that comes near him, won't he? Thank you so much for the 20, Stuart. Rocky says, evening, gents. Evening, Red Dogs. Evening, Rocky. Thank you so much for the 199, bud. And we got another 2-year anniversary in Tom. Thank you so much, Tom, for all your support over the last 2 years. And Darren, you need to confirm. Are you the Darren? Are you the Darren that Rob and Ben saw yesterday? Thank you so much for the 7 months. And our very own Simon Jones with the £5 saying, keep up the great work. Let's get the win on Friday. Massive game. It really is, isn't it? We can go fifth. And is the OG himself, not to be outdone, Sharky, with the £5. I got your back, Sharky. I got your back. Thank you so much, buddy, for the £5. Okay, let's bring Lemmy in. Mate, you gotta be buzzing after yesterday, mate. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, no, definitely. I do agree with the points that Ant raised, particularly around it not being necessarily like a blockbuster 3 to 5 goal thriller like we might have seen, or kind of what the Chelsea game was, especially for a neutral kind of proper end-to-end game. But to kind of go off of that, and then also links in with Stuart's comment about fears of the January transfer window. I think one of the main things from that game is we went into that game and we've won it with significant injuries and players missing. I don't think we would have been able to do that the past 2 seasons, and that shows that we've built an actual squad now. We've not got just a decent start in 11. We've not just got like players who we've kind of bought and hope that some of them are going to be good in a starting 11, which we had first season. Then last year we had, we think we know what our starting 11 is. Now we have a squad. We have a full Premier League squad with ability off the bench and players who are missing and not available. And we can still win games against teams who are comfortably mid-table. Palace aren't a relegation fodder team, in my opinion. They just go through a real rough rut. And we've played them at arguably the right time. But I'm not worried about the transfer window at all because we've won a game with our second string midfielders. You could say if you go on what we started against Bournemouth, we have none of that midfield, and that midfield is purely second string in Nuno's mind, and we're now bossing games. I wouldn't. I mean, we'll probably get on to players individually, but I just feel we look so set now. I don't have any fear anymore. I feel this is probably one of the first times I'm not worried going into like seeing 7 minutes of added time, and I'm like, bloody hell, we're probably going to lose this now, 2-1, 3-1. We're just going to capitulate. I'm not worried about that anymore, and that's because I think what we've done in the business and transfer window and having a solid lineup, especially at the back, and now Matz Sels is settled. I'm never worried about us just throwing away a game. Maybe it'll be a singular error from a player, which is annoying, but I'm not worried that we're going to ever get absolutely battered by any team now. We can play against all of them and just constantly keep churning out points. We're not in a false position like some salty Crystal Palace managers might have said. I think we're up in the top half on merit, and we genuinely have the right to be looking up the division rather than having to look over our shoulders and see what teams lower down are doing.
Do you genuinely not like? I don't know if the chat feel it as well. I know Liz just said it. Your nerves are better than hers. But do you feel, Joe, that there's a forest around the corner? If you know what I'm saying, is that not just in the back of your mind? Just
it's always going to be. Well, I think it's pretty much ingrained in me at this point. It's always going to kind of be lurking there. I'm always going to be checking, and I'll see that there's 7 minutes. I don't know. I'll be like, oh, that seems a bit long. If we only got one goal in at the moment, that we've got a lead to hold on to, but we're conceding one goal a game. We've conceded 2 goals once this season, which is, I'm pretty sure, second best. I think Sky Sports said we were the top in that, but I don't think we are because Liverpool have only conceded 1 goal at most in a game. But still, when we aren't conceding more than 2 goals a game, we're very rarely conceding 1 at the moment. So no, I'm not really worried. Whereas the last 2 seasons I've seen like 3 minutes come up and I'm thinking, oh God, we're going to drop it.
I absolutely agree with Lemmy on that. Last night, obviously, there's that thing, when you want to look, there's always a little bit, but I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable.
I feel more like we're going to get a goal on the break because they're going to be coming at us with everything. I feel more confident that we'll get then we will concede.
That chance we had at the end where we were 3-on-1.
Johnson needed to release it quicker, didn't he?
Yeah. We did. That kind of play will create those kind of chances. But a lot of what I can't disagree with anything that Lemmy said just there. But the main thing is that when we saw those players come on, we saw the difference that he made, and he made the substitutions. He started to bring on Jota a lot earlier, and we're seeing the impact he makes. But I think we all are going to agree at some point, if we have this debate, that he needs to be starting the next game. He has to start.
We will. You do it.
In the ground, I think most people were expecting to come on in the second half, straight away. But,
okay. I want to bring in Rob and Crypto. Let me just quickly catch up with the super chats and this mini segue. Jessica says, thank you, Ed, for having her back with the £5. And Ed, you're going to have some competition from Noah. He's claiming Jess loves him. Doesn't want to start beef with him, for the $1.99. I'll leave you and Ed to sort that out.
Yeah, no, I'll let Jess sort that out.
And the man Nicky with the 15 months. Thank you so much, Nicky. What are you saying about your boy Miguel, Nicky? And Sebastian with the £5 says, I saw Rob on Monday on the number 56 bus. He was eating some peanuts and doing the crossword in an old copy, of the World. He looked happy. He looked happy.
That's a brilliant super chat. I love that.
Can you confirm or deny this rumor, Rob?
It wasn't the news of the world.
But you're on the 56,
Anyway, Stuart as well.
And let me do Stuart's super chat with another £10 from the lovely Stuart. The transformation is inward with Nuno compared to when Cooper managed is night and day. The whole squad are united, and I love it. Stuart, I couldn't agree more. I think I said it on the video this morning. This guy is just on fire right now, and long may it continue. Thank you so much, Stuart, for the £10. All right, Mr. 56.
Sorry, just very quickly, my brother said something as well, which made sense at half time. He says he can't remember seeing a squad that seemed so like together and happy with each other as this Forest squad. Now, we can only go off what we see on the pitch and what we see on the videos that Forest produce. But it does look like they get on well together.
But they're not going to put them brawling, are they, Ant? Are they? All right, let's bring Rob and Crypto. All right, you shh. Their turn. Rob, Mr. 56, go.
Right, the result was everything. The Chelsea game was your entertainment value. It's perfectly all right to win ugly and to grind it out. We absolutely had to get that monkey off our back and get the first home win, and we did it. And I think that the key takeaway is that the 3-2s have turned into 1-0s. I don't want to ever lose 3-2 again. I'm quite happy to win 1-0, even if it's nervous. Now, I mean, I was at the game and I looked up the clock and it was about 70 minutes on the clock. You said before this is a season-defining week, right?
Correct.
And I was looking at the clock.
Did you agree with me?
I do agree. I'll tell you why. I looked at the clock and I thought, right, 70 minutes now. This is season-defining, right? Basically, either we're going to shut them out for the next 20, 25 minutes and we're going to win this 1-0, or we're going to throw it away again, right? And what we do in these sort of next 25 minutes is absolutely crucial for the season. And the funny thing is, it felt nervous at the time, but if I watch it back afterwards, there was one fantastic save by Sels, but even so, Palace was shooting from long range. You know, we weren't exactly clearing it off the line or having goals disallowed or anything like that. They weren't getting that close to us. And, you know, obviously the next step is to start beating people 3 or 4-0. But for now, I'm perfectly happy with the progression of winning the games that you're supposed to win against the teams that are not in form when you're at home. Did the business. The result was everything.
That's short and concise.
Yeah.
To the point.
And
we're going to now cover a list of 9 topics. So.
Well, we've got a lot to cover off. Go on, Ben. Twitter banned me, he says.
Yeah, I've been banned
again.
On Twitter, unfortunately. So I'm going through the appeal process. But no, I mean, I mostly agree with Ant. I think it's great that he's effectively issuing a groveling apology to Anderson and finally acknowledging that he's one of our best players. Hopefully, Ez will do the same about Wood, saying that Taiwo should start ahead of him. But anyway, I thought the first half, as Ant said, it was actually a bit dull. It wasn't great, but the good thing about it was that it could only get better. And one of the biggest improvements Nuno's made for me this season is his halftime team talks are clearly working. Because one of the things that wasn't working last season is they'd go in at halftime and they'd come out and actually play worse. Now they go.
You know, he wasn't there at halftime yesterday.
Well, his assistant. What's his assistant called?
Rui Pedro.
I'm sure he was on the Apple
on the touchline. I think he's allowed in the changing rooms.
Is he?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know.
Because it's only a touchline ban, isn't it? I think it's not a stadium ban. But
I don't know. He was up in the press box somewhere, wasn't he, yesterday? That's much know. But the chat will know. Someone tell us in the chat. Go on, Ben.
Yeah, so I thought it was, you know, it was brilliant that we came out and had a second half like that. The atmosphere was a lot better. I was sat in the Trent and near Rob and Ant as well, and the atmosphere was much better in the second half. I do disagree with Rob though. I no longer feel nervous. You know, the old days of Forest is you'd go 1-0 up and you'd think, right, we're going to lose 2-1. We've got one of the best centre-back pairings in the whole league. We've only conceded 6 goals in 8 games, and one of those was a penalty, and we know those don't count. So effectively, we've conceded 5 goals in 8 games. That's very impressive. That's not just good. That's one of the best in the league. So our defensive lineup now is fantastic, really, and I think it's almost like the core of our squad. I did want to shout out Sana, Wolverine, because he was right about Nketiah. Nketiah was good on the ball until
He was good on the ball, yeah.
I genuinely don't know how he did it. He got like just within the 6-yard box, and then he shot it, and it nearly hit one of the stewards in row A, about 10 yards to the left. So what's happened to him, I don't know, but it's a good job we didn't buy him. The only other point I wanted to make was the only thing that concerned me a little bit was that in the second half, Eze wasn't being shut down. He wasn't being closed down. And that was a risk because Eze looked really good and he's a good player in a crap team. And if he'd had one of those shots on target, maybe Matz Sels would have saved it because he was on fire. But that was my only concern, was that we were very good defensively inside the box, but we weren't closing down the shots from outside the box.
Yeah. Okay.
Quickly on that. Sorry, quickly on that. They always say, don't they, that teams do well if they can restrict the opposition to shots from outside the box. They always say that, yeah. So that's what we did. Also, Eze, fantastic player, and some of his shots were pretty damn good. Has had 31 shots this season and scored 1. Just letting you know.
They were very close, though. I mean, Matz Sels was on fire.
But close don't get you nothing, mate.
I know, but I'm just saying, in future games, one of those shots goes in the back of the net and we draw. I'm not criticizing. It was hard to pick out. It's hard to be critical because we won, and this new Forest where we get wins over the line like that, I think is brilliant. But that was one of my main concerns.
So you're right. You are right, mate. You are right. I'm just putting in a bit of context around it. That was all.
Okay, we got 400 in here and 126 likes. Hit that button, guys.
Minus Lemmy. What happened to Lemmy?
Lemmy's camera just died. He's on his way back. And speak of the devil, he's just joined back there. Okay, so get those likes up. I want to move on. Nikki's timed this super chat absolutely perfect. He says, I've always said Sels is our number one. Backed him 100% of the time. Nikki, I will vouch for you, Nikki. I've heard you say that time and time again. So I want to move on to Sels, and let me just shout out Darren. He says, sorry to disappoint, but it was not me you chatted to last night. Darren, if it was you, they would have remembered everything, man, with those good looks. Thank you so much for the $4.99, buddy. And as a few of you are saying, he can go into the changing rooms. I knew our chat are just so educated. Educated. No, not you, mate. Not you.
No, just the chat educated.
Stuart with another £10 super sticker. Stuart, you're way too generous, but thank you so much for your support. Really do appreciate it. And speaking of support, don't forget we have more exclusive content on Patreon. So if you want to see some more Forest videos and stuff like that exclusively on Patreon, the link's pinned in the chat for you guys. It'll help us go full time on here. Okay, Sels. Nikki's backed him 100% of the time. Where have you stood on him, and how good was he yesterday?
Well, I think when we had a chat earlier on in the season, for me, he's a solid number 2. If we could have got a better goalkeeper in, then yes, he's a great number 2 backup to have. But with him and Miguel fighting it out, you got to say he's really stamping his position, and he's got to be. Those last 2 games have got to be the best goalkeeping performances I've seen since the Samba days. And I know a lot of people will say Samba was at the game yesterday. I don't know if that means anything at all. But for me, he's a number 1, and he's definitely staked his claim over the last couple of games. And he's just getting, the fans are getting behind him now as well, because there was a little bit of a doubt. There was a little bit of wanting something more, even though what we've got is great, I think. And something I want to comment on that I did mention a couple of games ago, and you kind of shot me down for it, was that we were doing something different with our goal kicks. And I noticed it in the home game against Fulham. It didn't pay off. On one occasion, it nearly paid off when Alanga got through and he didn't carry on his run. So that diagonal is what we were trying to hit. And I saw yesterday it was a lot better. So his kicking's got better. His saving's been decent anyway. His positioning for the Welbeck free kick is one criticism I've got for him this season, and that was a mistake. But other than that, he's staked his claim for number 1 for me. And Miguel's going to have to bide his time, I think.
He's looking sharp, isn't he, boys? I don't know. I don't want to pass every player around. So is there anyone who's got a strong opinion they want to share on Sels because we've got a lot to talk about.
No, all I would say is I don't.
again.
So no, go on, mate. No, go on.
No, it's all right. What I would say about Sels, I've been calling for Miguel from the start of the season, but what I really like is when you've got a player that basically makes his case by what he does on the pitch. So, like, nobody could dispute after the last 2 games that Sels is the number 1 now. And I think that's basically the level of performance that he needs to maintain to keep that jersey, because there's no doubt that Miguel is potentially a top goalkeeper, and that's what competition does in this squad. I think the only position in which we're lacking competition at the moment is up front. But Sels is, I mean, about even 2 weeks ago, I was saying we're never going to see a man of the match performance from Sels. I'd love it if we did. Well, humble pie time. We've had potentially 2 in 2 games. Fantastic. This is what we want.
Got it at the ground yesterday. Did anyone see?
Sorry?
What was that?
Who got it? Who did it get given to?
Anderson would man of the match.
Okay.
Yeah, Anderson was
Anderson.
at the ground. Yeah.
But I think did Sels win on the player ratings?
Yeah.
Fair
That
enough.
was the tightest
Only
one ever.
just.
42, 40. Yeah.
One say, so Dan's just mentioned it. One thing I want to point out, he was beaten like 3 games in a row at his top left corner, and I said his left arm wasn't long enough, but that save he did from Eze, he used his right arm, so he's obviously taken some hints from FFTV.
I think if you compare it in comparison to Henderson's save, who's obviously a red, I mean, that was shocking. He didn't put his arm down
Wasn't a save.
and let the ball in.
Is there a theme? Do you remember how we used to concede so many long range goals in the first season back?
Mm.
And Hendo
There
was in
has
goal.
to
at
be
the
a
time.
theme,
Hendo was in
hasn't
goal.
there?
Hendo
I
was in
said
goal, wasn't he?
before the game, all we need to do is get long range shots in against Henderson. I did actually say that. Regarding Samba, I have no information whatsoever, but I honestly don't believe there's anything in it. I don't think if you've got a current number 1 and a current number 2, if you like, you have a prospective goalkeeper sitting in the stands for everybody to see. I don't think that would be very good management, would it? So, I've got no information, but I doubt that there's anything in that apart from the fact that he still has a fondness for Forest.
So for those of you who don't know what happened, Samba was in the stands yesterday. As Noah says here, thank you for the 199. Samba was at the game yesterday. I agree with Ant. There's going to be nothing in it. I mean, plenty of time. I mean, Sean Dyche was in the stands for most of Cooper's reign. Doesn't mean he was going to be announced the next day as the manager.
Yeah.
Has he given up yet, or did he still come?
I haven't seen him in there. So
I don't know. If you listen to the rumours that when he left, he didn't want to negotiate with Forest anymore. Once he made that derisory offer,
because he felt insulted by the offer, didn't he?
Exactly. So to say that he still has love for the club in that way, I don't know if he has.
Yeah, but he could have love for the fans.
Maybe because Marinakis wasn't there, that he thought he'd slip in.
I'm sure he loves it.
Yeah.
Now he realizes that we're going to get Champions League football next year. He probably wants to come back.
It's a fair point.
I'd take him.
Okay, let's move on because I've got loads of players I want to talk about. Stuart with the £10. This one's for Rob. I have had humble pie. I have interrupted Rob numerous times, but he does make sense when his lips don't move.
Yeah.
Right.
No, can I tell you something about Rob? Rob let on last night that when he's looking at his phone, he has to use an app called Dictation to make the font size 4 times bigger. So now I understand why everything he says about Forest is drivel. Because if he can't even see his phone, then how the hell can he see what's going on the pitch?
Oh.
And I want to know why you're podcasting from a toilet.
Yeah, you sound weird, mate. Yeah.
Oh, let me open the door.
All right. While you're doing that, let me shout out what's up with the £2. Big up to your other channel, Wolfie, enjoying it. Thank you so much, Warren. Don't forget, we do have a secondary channel, the Footy Network, where we talk about all the Premier League's ongoings. So if you're not subscribed to that, please do. The link's in the description. Thanks so much, Warren. Thank you for supporting the second channel as well. Okay, I want to talk about Elliot Anderson. What a player. I was just on, shout out to Loaded Mag. I was on there. They're a Newcastle channel for those of you who don't know them. And I just started by saying thank you for Elliot. And it cut deep. And I meant it as a genuine thank you. It wasn't like, haha, look what we've got. But Joe, how good was he yesterday in that 10 where, you know, we were worried about what would happen with MGW out?
Yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, we know that Ant's going to wax lyrical about him for about half an hour, so I'll try and get
I've done my bit.
But watch, he'll still have something more to say.
Yeah, definitely. But I feel, I mean, he's just part of the brilliant transfer window that we've had this summer, and I'd probably say that Milenkovic, you probably don't need to talk about tonight because he's put in the same performance every week. He's probably been our best season that we've signed. Best player that we've signed in the summer in terms of the deal. But in terms of Elliot Anderson, I think he's quickly becoming probably someone that I'd regard as our best player overall that we've got at the moment. I'd say in comparison to like Morgan Gibbs-White, I'd kind of put them on a level pegging. I've always had Morgan Gibbs-White probably the best player that we've got at Forest, but Elliot Anderson's quickly become someone who I think is actually going to possibly surpass him, especially as someone who's only 21 years old. The fact that he's able to put in a performance like that at number 10 and then still have the stats like Ant was going on about, where he's winning the most duels in the entire league. It just shows that he is someone who's going to be crucial, and he's going to be able to play every single game. If it's at an 8 or at a 10 or on the wing, wherever we're asking him to play, he's always going to put in, I'd say, a minimum 8 out of 10 performance. I don't think he's ever shown that he's got a bad game. He's always running up and down all over the pitch. And that run that he made yesterday, where he brought the ball down with a brilliant touch and then ran it across the width of the pitch to then want the ball back, and then just decided, no, I'm going to do it by myself instead, and took on 3 centre-backs to then bring off a shot. That was unbelievable. I couldn't imagine any of the Forest player at the moment, apart from maybe Morgan Gibbs-White, who would try it, but he'd also whiff his shot.
Can we point out as well that me and Ant sat here probably a month ago and got absolutely slandered for suggesting that anybody could possibly compete with Morgan Gibbs-White, and yesterday just proved that he needs competition in that position. And Anderson yesterday did a fantastic job.
I don't disagree that he needs competition, but I think it really highlighted yesterday that those are our 2 best players, and I wouldn't have them competing, because that kind of suggests that you're going to pick one.
But then
both of those 2, apart from maybe Matz Sels as the goalkeeper, I'd then say those 2 are the next 2 names I'd be wanting on my team sheet, because they are going to bring all of the creativity for us to score goals, and having both of them on the pitch, being able to probably pivot between playing a number 10. I don't think we're in any trouble for trying to get any creativity out if you have both of them on the pitch.
It's an interesting point, because you could almost, let's say you started MG Dub in the 10 and Anderson in the 8, you could almost interchange them during the match if need be, to see who was performing best in those positions.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And then you could, if you
Danilo would have to be dropped, but you know, such is life.
So is anyone now looking at Anderson and thinking they would start him in the 10 against Leicester?
Yes.
Ooh, I feel a poll question coming on.
Yes.
Go on, Rob.
I've been if you can go back, and no one's going to do this, but you can check. I've been putting him at 10 in my team pretty much every Forest forum since the start of the season, including for the Bournemouth game. I've been wanting to see him do that. And as far as I'm concerned, if there's any doubt about Gibbs-White's fitness, then he starts on the bench and Anderson keeps that position. Absolutely. And by the way, I'm going to make another prediction. I think Anderson's going to play for England. That guy's going to play for England.
I agree with that.
Certainly squad. I agree.
Yes.
He already plays for the under-21s, doesn't he?
Yeah. So
he does, yes.
Now, if you can get both of them in, that's great, because what I would say is during the first half, there was an overall lack of creativity, because when you've got Dominguez and Yates as your 2 deeper midfielders, and Ilanga's off his game, as he was, basically the first half yesterday, Anderson was pretty much all of the creativity, right? But, you know, if you can find a way to get Gibbs-White and Anderson into the same team, and you bring in Jota on the right, then that's how we get more goals. That's how the 1-0s turn into 2-0s and 3-0s.
Yeah,
So-
but you can do that, Rob, because once Sangare's fit,
Yeah,
you'll have
exactly.
Sangare, Anderson,
Absolutely.
MGW in the
I
10.
think those three would be the ideal three. Absolutely. And remember, that's the 100 million midfield, those three.
Rob, sorry, I wasn't listening. What was that midfield three?
The Sangare, Anderson, and Gibbs White, the 100 million midfield.
Oh, I was going. The reason I ask you because I was going to go, really, really naughty and suggest maybe Sangare, Morgan Gibbs White in the 8, and Anderson in the 10. I think that'd work.
I said that for the Bournemouth game. I've said that consistently all the way through, based on his pre-season. And he did some really silky dribbling yesterday. It was like, eat your heart out, Morgan. This is what I've got. I think what he needs is to add is goals. We need goals from Anderson.
Both of them do, Rob. Both of them do.
One thing MGW's got is boundless energy, isn't it, Rob?
At least Morgan Gibbs White has scored. Anderson needs to break his duck. Absolutely.
We need that quite quickly, though, because God help us if Chris Wood got injured. That could change our season pretty quickly.
So Anne, you're with Rob then. You put your hand up as well to say, yeah, you'd go with him in the 10. And just out of interest, the poll at the moment, 51% would put Anderson in the 10. Only 40, I say only, it's still a big percentage. 40% would put Morgan Gibbs White in the 10. 6% would put Jota, and no one would put Dominguez. He's literally on 0%.
Well, I mean that's fair enough, isn't it? That's fair enough. I wouldn't put Dominguez.
He did well yesterday, though, to say that he'd been, sidelined for a long time. He did all right.
Fact of the matter is, we had MGW, Sangare, and Danilo missing yesterday, and yet we put out a really good midfield. That says something about the squad depth, doesn't it?
And
really does.
I do find it really impressive how our substitutes, who may only get 10 or 15 minutes per game, and I'm sure we'll talk about them later, but people like Morata, how they come on the pitch and perform like that as a sub. I think Nuno's got them really good on that.
We need a crypto machine gun emoji in the chat. Before we talk about that, let's get the negative out of the way, okay? Which is Rich in the chat. No, I'm joking. Shout out to Rich. I did watch his video. Some of you guys have. Go check his mini meltdown yesterday. No popcorn was on his video. Make sure you show Eagle-Eyed Football some love. Let's get the negative out of the way. You know who I'm gonna say, don't you?
Yeah.
Gunners.
Right, I'm going to just throw a couple of spanners in about. I think there's too much recency bias. We're without MG Dub for a couple of games, and so some people have forgotten.
No, I agree with that.
I'm just basing
I've been consistent, mate.
Huh?
I've been consistent.
Well, a couple of concerns.
I don't think people are saying they're not saying drop him. This is about the 10.
The same
No, not dropping him. No, he's far too good a player to not have in the side. But as an 8 and Anderson as a 10. No.
I've got a couple of concerns about Anderson as a 10 or in general because
he frozen us.
I've seen a full 90 minutes out. Am I frozen again?
You're back. Go on.
Okay, so have we seen a full 90 minutes out of him yet? I can't think that we have. And
yesterday.
I still think his short range passing, let me just finish. I don't think his short range passing is anywhere near Morgan Gibbs White's. So for me, he's not the number 10. He should be a number 8. The stats that Ant put out earlier, that's a perfect number 8. Somebody breaks a play. That's not number 10 stats. So that's where we need him. And I think we've got a very good number 10. I don't know why we're looking to replace him.
I think his crossing is better than Gibbs White. I think Anderson's crossing is better than Gibbs White. He put in a couple of really superb balls on
I
think
MGW gives the ball away more than Anderson does.
But he does try those passes more, though.
Yeah. Look, we don't need to fall out because I think we all agree that we've got 2 cracking midfielders that can play either the 8 or the 10.
They can interchange. So
play them both.
So what chat in the chat? I'm interested to know 6, 8, and 10. Everyone fit. What's your preferred selection? Just write it in like their initials or something if you can't be asked to type it up. Let's just quickly go round here and see who's everyone's 6, 8, and 10. So go on, you kick us off and then we'll go around. Give me your everyone's fit 6, 8, 10.
Sangare 6, Anderson 8, MG Dub 10.
Okay. Ben?
Same for me.
Rob?
Sangare 6, Gibbs White 8, Anderson 10.
Ez?
No, I'll go back with Lemmy and Crypto.
Ant?
All right, Rob. I'm not going to drop you, mate. I'll stick up. Yeah, I'll go with Rob's. Although, like I've just said, it's so close. I wouldn't mind either.
No fence sitting there. But he's saying Shelby and Scarpa.
Splinter's killing me.
I can just pick up on Owen's point. Yates disappointed me yesterday and someone's just mentioned this in the chat. He's been completely sussed in terms of falling over when he gets tackled. He did it 7, 8, 9 times yesterday. He just jumps on the floor. He doesn't get the whistle anymore. So 100% it's got to be Sangare.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Before we talk about Elanga, just a quick shout out to my mate Locks. He'll be on Thursday. I've done a preview with him. It's out on his channel now. There'll be the flip on Patreon tomorrow for the Patreons amongst you exclusively. Make sure you go check him out. He's an absolute top bloke, and let's just say his views on Cooper are very fascinating. So make sure to check his channel out, Blue Tinted Glasses. You'll get to hear all about him if you don't know him on Thursdays live 4v4. I can't wait for that. Quick catch up on the super chat. Stuart, way too generous yet again with another £10 super sticker. Thank you so much, Stuart. Much love for all the support Stuart and everyone else is giving this channel.
Amazing.
You guys are unbelievable. And then Jessica just blows it right out the water again with a £50 donation. Just for Ez. Ez, you read it. This is for you. I can't
so just for Ez, please get good internet for at least 1 month. But I've got to say,
backhanded compliment.
Thanks, Jess.
Next one will be, for God's sake, Ez, will you get it?
No, I've got the best internet. It's just I'm on the attic. I'm in the 3rd floor, and the hub's on
the penthouse.
The thing is, Ez has got such a big house that he's got like 4 or 5 floors in it.
Yeah, I'm in a different wing. Yeah, sorry. But yes, you're amazing. Thank you so much. And we've got to meet up soon.
Forest are hosting an open training session Tuesday, 29th of October. Okay, let's see what we can do about that one. I did see you lot talking about it in the WhatsApp group. Okay, let's just get out of the way, right? One negative for me yesterday, Elanga.
Yeah.
Crypto, kick us off on the and chat. I don't want to go overboard on this one, but I've been saying it for a long time. And I think yesterday, to me, he felt like, I don't want to say not interested, but just not at the races. I don't know what the right word is. Crypto, what are your thoughts on Elanga? Chat, get your thoughts in as well.
I was thinking about this yesterday during the match. I feel like maybe when he was on fire last season, it could have been like a purple patch, like a one he had. Because we know in the bank he has the speed, he can take on players, he can score goals, he can get assists, but we haven't seen that for ages. And how Nuno doesn't start Jota over Elanga, who when he comes on looks just absolutely fantastic. I think it is time, isn't it? It's almost like one of those situations when Cooper dropped Morgan Gibbs-White. I think Elanga, to get back into the team now, he needs to be replaced by Jota. I'm sure he's in the best mindset, but something's not working. He wasn't involved in the game at all yesterday, and I think that's why really the first half looked so poor, because there was just no creativity. He doesn't even seem to take people on anymore. I mean, he's got the pace. He's the 2nd fastest player in the league. But I don't know. He's either lost confidence or he's just going through a bad patch. And I know. I mean, I was one of his biggest fans. I've got an Elanga shirt hung on my wall somewhere. But
that's what the problem is. Then
that is the problem.
To be fair, every shirt I bought a Sangare shirt. He got injured the next match.
You know.
I'm just not gonna buy it. I really want to buy a Chris Wood shirt. If I buy
don't.
Season over. It's literally season over. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure some of the other guys will agree with me that Elanga for me needs replacing with Jota, who I don't just think is better. I think he's one of our best players, so he needs to be starting.
The thing with Elanga had one moment yesterday, and it was one perfect cross to Chris Wood at the back post, and if it wasn't for the defender who got a foot in right at the base of the post, it would have been a goal. So he had one moment, and but the problem was he didn't take on Tyreek Mitchell at all. He should have been running at him, man. He had, for me, he had the beating, but so it's a confidence issue for me with Elanga. But I don't see why. My problem is I don't understand why Nuno's actually persisting with him at the moment. Why he's starting with him. And clearly, everybody can see Jota is a better player.
Elanga yesterday was absolutely terrified of Mitchell. He was terrified of him. He just wouldn't risk it at all. And Mitchell, to be fair, is one of the best left backs in the country, so that's fair enough. Now, what I would like to point out is that there's a bit of an Elanga agenda building up, mainly probably because of him up there. But,
I can still hear you.
I don't think it's not.
I'm going to interrupt you. Pro Jota agenda. It's an in favour of Jota agenda. It's not against Elanga.
So my point being is that Hudson-Odoi has not been good. It's not been good, but nobody's saying anything because he scores great goals occasionally. But if he's not scoring great goals occasionally, which I think is being worked out, there were 4 players on him last night. In the second half, when he cut inside on his right, 4 players came to him. So that's been kind of sus, right? So,
but he has to be smarter.
Now I agree 100% that Jota should be playing in front of Elanga because Elanga's right out of form. His confidence is shot, and Elanga is a confidence player. However, there may be a case because Elanga can be better on the left, putting Jota on the right and Elanga on the left, and dropping Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah, but Hudson-Odoi is
doing nothing. Trust me.
Well, I asked the question, didn't I? Are we using Hudson-Odoi as a super sub, which Nuno was for a couple of games, but he was making an impact and scoring goals, or should he be starting games and playing 90 minutes? Maybe there is a different role for him. And
the difference in that
what Ant said just there, because
Callum Hudson-Odoi has had a pretty good season so far. Elanga's done pretty much nothing all season. He was very good last season, but this season he hasn't really had a standout game. So I don't think you can say
Liverpool.
It's only been 8 games.
Sorry, it's about Elanga. Sorry.
I don't think you can say drop Callum Hudson-Odoi for Elanga. That's harsh. That is. I don't agree with that. All that needs to happen.
I don't give a shit whether you agree with it or not.
I know, but it's just. It's just. I think you're talking bollocks, to be honest, because.
So Hudson-Odoi's been good this season, has he? Did you watch him last night?
Elanga's done nothing this season.
No, he hasn't been better. Elanga's beaten plenty of players this season. Plenty. And got up to the byline. Now, we all know that he's not the most intelligent player in the world, and his passing and crossing and shooting's not elite. We know that. But it's quick. He beats his defender and he's confident.
The overall
it's no big deal. Mate, it's no big deal. I'm not that bothered.
Jota's better player. Can we all agree Jota's better? So why is he not starting? It's as simple as that. He needs to start.
I absolutely love Jota, and I want him to start against Leicester, but I'm not going to go down the line as this fantastic player. We've already seen the guy play.
Let me bring some balance into this. Sorry, bring them in on this.
There's a couple of things that are kind of brought up there. I mean, we're saying that Elanga's not been great this season. We're 8 games in to a season, so it's not really fair to make that judgment already because, I mean, he had a great start to the season. If we were 8 games in this time, you'd have said he was probably our best player because he scored like 4 or 5 of his goals that he scored through the entire season in the first 8 games. So that's not really a fair point. Also saying that Jota is clearly a better player. I feel like we're almost getting lured into a similar trap that we got lured into, what was it, January last year or January the year before with Gustavo Scarpa. We saw his skateboarding tricks and we thought he was the best thing since sliced bread and that he had to play.
And Reina as well.
We all said, lit up the Brazilian league, so he has to be playing, and then we all got really upset because he wasn't. I feel like we're almost falling into a very similar trap. I don't disagree that whenever Jota Silva's come on, he's looked very good, and he's brought a lot of energy, which is what you want out of a sub. The first thing that you want when you bring on a substitution against very tired legs in the back line is a lot of energy, because that's how you're going to be able to tear them apart. I mean, you will probably say that when you bring Ryan Yates on off the bench, he's going to bring on a lot of energy. I don't think any of us are saying that he should be starting in the midfield. So I don't disagree that probably this Friday is a good chance for Jota to start again, because we've gone from playing on a Monday and playing on a Friday. That's probably the best chance that Jota Silva is going to get to start a game, because you're going to say, right, the guys have not had a lot of rest and recovery time. We can probably start you now. But I don't think I would be immediately jumping down the barrel of we have to be dropping Elanga straight away.
But Elanga's done nothing.
Can we talk about the qualities of Jota, though, right? I saw him do something which Elanga never does last night. 3 or 4 times he made tackles. He turned defence into attack several times in the final.
What about those 2 late corners that he won as well?
He won his 4 corners in about
honestly,
15 minutes.
Us grinding out that 1-0 and not surrendering the lead, a lot of that was due to Jota being a complete handful. And several times he won the ball deep and he took it all the way up. And, you know, no end product. I'll give you that. And there was one where he should have, basically put it in a bit earlier and we should have gone 2-0. Right. Yeah. But I've never seen Elanga make a tackle. And the thing is that Jota is trying to get 90 minutes of contribution into a 30-minute window. That's what it feels like at the minute. I mean, it's an old cliche that somebody gives 110% for the team. I actually think he's given 120. He's trying so hard at the moment. And I'm not taking away from Elanga. I think Elanga's a very good player. But we're not in the position where we need to play someone who is that far off form, right? There's going to be a role for Elanga this season. I think he's a good substitute. He can play either side.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, but Jota has to start, especially away against Leicester. That game is going to be one hell of a scrap, and I want his scrapping qualities and not another absentee game from Elanga.
Elanga's a type of player. The exact opposite of what Lemmy said is that when there's 15 minutes left and then defense is knackered, he's the second fastest player in the league. He's the one you want coming on as a sub. Jota's going to be creating chances throughout the game. For me, Elanga has to go back to being a super sub, and you've got to start Jota. I think he's earned it. If he doesn't start on Friday, I'll be really disappointed with Nuno.
I agreed with everything Rob said, but I had to shake my head. I can't stand this 110%, 120%. You give 100%, you can't give more than
120%. Yeah, I was the one that killed you.
God, it really pisses me off.
Technically, you can.
You can't give more than everything. You can't. Technically, or any other way, you can't. You can't give more than 100%. Is everything.
If you have stocks in Carrera and they go up by 20%,
I'm talking about the literal meaning of the word.
Nice.
It means 100 per 100. You can't get 120 into 100. It doesn't work.
No, that's not true. You could have 200% of a number, which is twice as much.
You're talking out of context, aren't you? You're being silly. You're being very silly. You're very intelligent man. Should know what you're saying. A human being cannot give 110 or 120%. It's impossible.
Okay,
it is. What do you mean? How can you give more than everything?
All right. We agree. Right, let's move on, and I want to talk about more positive stuff. Let's catch up with the super chats. There's loads coming in. The lovely Jessica, yet another £20. She says, hoping and praying to be in Nottingham the weekend of the Ipswich match. We can meet then, hopefully. I think that is that.
We have players on a lead.
Is that again?
You have to muzzle him.
I did say when can we meet? But yeah, okay, we're on. You're on. Get down here.
Yeah, okay. Jessica, it sounds like a date. Eds will be paying for your lunch for sure. Thank you so much for the £20. And not to be outdone, Stuart with another £50, Stuart. He says, Jess, I will match your bet. Such an amazing place to be. Great panel, great people on chat, amazing community. Plus Thank Rob. You. No, you didn't write that. Plus Rob.
You didn't write that.
Stuart, that's way too generous. Thank you so much again for your support, buddy. Really do appreciate it. And Jessica with yet another one with the £5. He says, also crypto, please don't get a wood shot. Don't jinx my point.
I'm trying to resist, but he's making it hard.
Resist.
And that's exactly who we're going to move on to. Just before I do, there's nearly 450 of you in here, 700 watching across the platform. We're 8 likes away from 200 likes, which should be more nearer 300.
What you're doing there.
I like what you did there.
Very good. Good show. Very good. So let's get those likes up. It's free to do. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed if you are new here. And let's talk about Jessica's boy, Cristiano Woodinho.
Oh, not me then.
Not
Not yet,
I said
not
at
yet.
half time, I thought he
You
was.
wait till she turns up, Eze. She's 6'2".
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Anyway,
Sorry.
Cristiano Woodinho, right? I said at halftime, I thought he was having a really good game. He had a couple of chances. That header, if he'd smacked that in, would have been fantastic. And if that header from Yates had just broken slightly differently off the post, he would have had a tap in. And then obviously he gets his goal in the second half. Real poacher's goal, instinctive, I thought, the way he just hit the ball as it dropped at him. But what's left to say about Cristiano Woodinho? And congratulations as well to him and his missus. They're expecting a baby girl, he said. So hope that all goes smooth. But Cristiano Woodinho, the enigma.
It's his consistency, isn't it? And that's the reason why I would always have him, as he is now, ahead of Taiwo, because you can pretty much guarantee.
Oh, can you just praise Chris Wood without having to dig at Taiwo? Just talk about Chris Wood.
You can pretty much guarantee that he's going to score at least 1 in every 2 games. I mean, his stats are better than 1 in every 2 games. You know, we're talking like 110% of 1 in every 2 games. So for me, you've got to start him. And yesterday was a brilliant goal. We were sat in the Trent end, and he took it on the half volley. Yes, Henderson should have saved it, but to get it in that bottom corner was brilliant. And I agree that he is basically a poacher. He's in the right place at the right time. And this is what he didn't do under Cooper. He's always in the right place at the right time. And he just seems to get these goals. And his finishing is sublime, really. He's got to be one of the best finishers in the league. I'm not sure what the stat is in terms of shots versus scored, but I think it's pretty much up there at the top of the table.
If he isn't number 1 in terms of strike rate.
All I hope is that he doesn't get injured, because our team at the moment is great defensively. We've got a strong midfield, but I'm worried that if we lose Chris Wood, we will struggle.
Well,
I was okay when he came on us, wasn't he?
Well, this is what I just want to respond to the comment he tried to throw back at me when I wasn't actually on screen earlier about my Taiwo thing. What I said about Taiwo was, what I don't want us to do is play Chris Wood into the ground and have no options.
I agree.
So for me, it would have been so much nicer if we'd got a 2-goal lead and were able to give Taiwo a few more minutes. But he looked shaky yesterday. He didn't look good on the ball. He never does look good on the ball, but he does normally impact the game, and he hasn't.
I think Taiwo was decent when he came on. I know this is the Chris Wood section, but I think Taiwo was decent when he came on because he was a handful.
I agree.
Palace were reluctant to camp everyone on the edge of our box because they were worried about that guy. Yeah, and I actually quite like that 3-4-3 that we closed out the game with Taiwo at the front, and then.
Yeah, but we're talking about Chris Wood, Rob. Right
I know
now.
we're talking about Chris Wood, but I don't think Taiwo. Taiwo's got 15 minutes here or there. Obviously he's not going to have 5 goals by now if that's all he's getting. I wasn't displeased with what I saw from Taiwo, but I actually agree with you. As I said this myself, my concern is that if we are playing Chris Wood every minute of every game, and you've got 2 games close together like this, if as Crypto says, if he does get injured, we are in dire straits.
But what's happening with Taiwo is that he's almost being used as like a Andre Ayew type thing, where he's brought on to hold up the play, and he's good at that. Don't get me wrong. You can see how physically strong he is. People are scared of him. I don't think he had a bad game at all. I thought he was fine, but we need a goal scorer. Yes, Taiwo can come on the last 15 minutes if we're winning the game and we need to hold it out, but we need a goal scorer, and Chris Wood is that.
Taiwo scores goals. Taiwo scores.
Not for a long time.
Not for a long time. But listen, the guy is coming back from horrendous injury issues, right? Yeah. And last night was the first time I looked at him. I thought he looks like he's not lost weight, but it is toned up. He looks
chiseled up.
Yeah. And there was one bit where he ran across and I thought, his pace is there as well. So we don't need to, as football fans, we tend to do this because we like this player and he's doing well at the moment. Everybody else is shit. Yeah. Taiwo's a damn good striker. We know that. On his day, he can be a good striker.
From
Chris Wood at the
penalties,
moment
man.
is phenomenal. I tell you what, I smile every time the ball goes in the back of the net and I see it's Chris Wood that scores. I feel great because that guy went through such shit from us as well as anybody else. And the way he's turned it round, I'm really, really pleased.
Just add, and deservedly so, because he was shocking.
Yeah. All right, people should say sorry. No, you don't say sorry because he was shit then. But that was
he was
down to Cooper.
Yes, Cooper's
yeah, exactly. It's something Crypto says. He says, "Oh, you know, he wasn't the same player, but he wasn't getting chances anyway. It wasn't as if he was missing chances. He wasn't getting chances. We weren't creating."
Playing Morgan Gibbs White on the right wing.
On the right. Yeah.
Again, have you seen his stats? His stats like number one in the chances scored from chances created and all this lot. Yeah. Basically, if he gets a chance, most times he scores.
I've got a good stat if you want one.
I've got to do this.
I used to hate stats, Lemmy, but now he seems to love them. He keeps whipping them out. Go on.
I've always been. I don't know why.
Why
are you saying that I hate stats? I love a good stat. Oh, are you saying that?
Him. He's always hates stats, but he's
been
whipping them out.
110%. He hates them 110%.
I just made one point. I don't agree with that we're being reactionary about Taiwo. I think it's a similar situation to Elanga. He's been out of form for a while. It's not, this is not something new. This is an all-season thing.
Taiwo's not starting games like Elanga is. So
I'm not necessarily blaming him, but if you ran a poll, I can't imagine many people would say start Taiwo on Friday. They probably
nobody's suggesting that right now. You're thrown in a curveball that nobody's even mentioned. But I'm saying to just write off Taiwo as if he's not going to have a part to play in this season is absolutely stupid. He's one of our key players, and he was one of the key players in that first season to keep us up. So all I'm saying is praise Wood, but stop slagging off Taiwo. What's that? What's Taiwo?
I'm not slagging off Taiwo.
Man, your agenda is ridiculous.
Taiwo, sure.
No one even mentioned.
I want to hear your stat, Lemmy.
Yeah,
I want to hear my stat. I can't remember it now.
It's all been built up now. All right, come on. Just before Lemmy gives his stat, let's build it up even more. Let's build it up even more because we have 210 likes. Guys, come on, 250. Let's get to 250. I don't hit the like button. We've
made more in super chats than you've done in likes, guys. Come on.
Exactly. So get those likes up, guys, if you haven't hit it already. Okay, drum roll, please. Lemmy, this stat better be good now.
It's not bad. I was just doing while we were talking. I did a quick comparison of Chris Wood and his contributions to goals. Yeah, Chris Wood. His contributions to goals under managers, and it was quite stark looking at Steve Cooper versus Nuno, he's played an extra 4 games under Nuno, 23 versus 27. But goal contributions under Steve Cooper, anyone want to hazard a guess how many he had in 23 games?
One. The Man
4.
City.
He got 4 goals. He got the Man City goal. He got 2 against Luton at home, and I can't remember what the 4th is. But in 27 games under Nuno, he's got 16 goals, and he's like the third since Nuno came into management against every other Premier League player. Since that point, that inception to now, he's the 3rd best goal scorer in the Premier League.
I tell you what, as well, Lemmy, there's not many players. Not many players in the league who would have their average value in terms of goals versus amount spent. So he's basically doing less than £1 million a goal. I mean, even if you compare someone like Haaland, you're probably looking at what, £10 million a goal. So in terms of money back, it's fantastic.
It's better than 30 million. Better than 30 million on Nketiah anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, what a contract!
One last comment on Nketiah. I still think in our system he would have worked.
Shut up.
Let me finish my comment. Let me finish my comment. The problem I've got is his fucking attitude. I would have him nowhere near our club purely because of his attitude.
Oh, I'm delighted he was such a greedy bastard that we didn't buy him because yesterday was a head-to-head between Nketiah and Wood, and there was absolutely no comparison because Nketiah, he looked disinterested. He looked like he had no confidence.
Oh, let's not forget when he skinned
120
Murillo.
grand a
Let's not
week.
forget
I'd
that.
be more motivated than that.
He did show some class touches yesterday.
No, okay,
Yeah,
but he was
he's
shooting
not the worst player,
35
and
yards.
he would work in our system. I still contest. But his
No,
attitude,
Where would he go in our system? Where would he go in our system? As a lone striker?
On the
No.
bench where he's used to.
As a lone striker, he would work. With the way that he'd link up with an MG dub type player, I think he'd be perfect for that.
No,
But
where would you put him? Where would you, no, I want to know, where would you put Nketiah in our 4-2-3-1? Where does he go in for you?
He's the striker, the lone striker.
Oh,
Ahead
you're
of Wood.
joking.
Ahead of Wood.
No, not at all. He's got the energy to be closing down plays that Chris Wood can't do. Taiwo, he
You're
hasn't got
deluded.
it.
Hang on a sec. You
I'm
love
not
Tyler.
arguing for him. I'm not
You
arguing
are.
for him. I'm just saying, but if it wasn't for his attitude, I don't think he would have been the worst signing.
Would you start Nketiah ahead of
He
Tyler?
was rubbish. He was rubbish. And I said to the lady next to me at half time,
And you
No,
were
I
at the
think
game. This is rubbish. I mean, Rob,
I was
you
at
were
the game. I was at the
Yeah.
game. He was rubbish, right? I said to the lady,
I think the manager's a prick. Why would
Hey.
you, when you go one goal down, take a striker off to bring a striker on?
Because he was crap. He needed to
Right.
come off.
I
He was awful.
said to
Stop
the lady
diverting
next
then. Stop
So this
diverting.
was-
You're backing Nketiah here.
I said to the lady
I'm not
next to
backing
me
him.
at
Yeah.
half time, it was 0-0. I said, this is
Why are
good.
we
We're
talking
going to win
about a
this.
Palace player?
We're going to win
Because
this.
I'm right and I
said
like
was-
hearing about it.
said was
Can I
the last
carry
thing
on?
I wanted to make.
Hang
Can
on,
I-
only super
can I
chats.
carry
can
on?
go. Only
Can I
super
carry
Go on,
on?
Rob. Go on, Rob.
Right, okay. So I said to the lady next to me at half time,
Was it
Nketiah
Jessica?
And a quickie.
Nketiah and Wood are going to keep getting chances. And Wood's going to put one of his away, and Nketiah isn't. And that's exactly what happened. Because basically, Nketiah could have had another half dozen chances, and he would not have scored. He was shooting from too far out because he didn't have the confidence to take somebody on, and he wasn't getting in the box. And, you know, you just knew. And Wood said it himself in his post-match interview, right? He said, look, you know, it's not my greatest goal, but you got to take them, and eventually one's going to go in.
Well, Rob, you can say what you want, but you didn't say it on stream, so you could be lying for all we know. Unless you get this lady on to collaborate your story,
Yeah,
then
exactly.
I thought you were sat next to and
No,
anyway. I don't
seriously,
know
if
what
you
he
put
was
another
wearing.
3 or 4 chances in front of those two strikers, one of Woods is going to go in, and one of Nketiah's is not, right? And that, and there was never a better contrast. And I am so glad that we did not panic in the summer transfer window and spunk 30 million on that player, because it would have been an utter waste of money. And Palace have bet on him, they've gambled on him, and they've lost. And I'm actually happy that also, you know, we were prepared to pay the wages of Milenkovic because he's worth it. But Nketiah was not worth the money he was asking for, and you get what you deserve.
love
when
it.
you in
Mic
court,
drop.
and when you're in court for harassment with this poor lady next to you.
I'll tell you, she was mental. That lady next to me was mental. I don't think she's watching.
No second date then.
I hope she is. I hope
I
she is.
think that's
listening.
what
She was with her husband. Stop it.
So what were you chatting her up then? She
Look,
got a
I
man with
talk
her.
to people
Listen,
in
folks,
the crowd.
listen, folks, I have to let you into something. In fact, I've got a photo. I might put it on Twitter. Rob looked dead cool towards the end of the match because he was the only one standing up at the side of a Trent end, standing up against the wall like this, watching the game, cool as anything.
Oh,
Seriously,
I
I've
got
been-
fed up of standing up and sitting down. I just thought, I'm going to stand for the next 10 minutes.
But just to kind of close out that on Nketiah, as you said, Wolfie, you got to say something on stream for it to stick. And as the one person who has been on the stream and said maybe Nketiah was right for our system, I guess I'm glad after that result, particularly, that I was wrong. Because if I would have been right, then we would have lost that game. So sometimes it's not too bad to be wrong, but if that shot that he takes from 30 yards out is a half inch further down and a half inch further to the left, you're calling that goal of the season.
No, Sels would have saved it.
If.
No,
If-
fair play. You know,
if-
it's
I'm happy to
important-
own up when I make a comment and I'm wrong, but I'm
Absolutely.
glad that I am wrong in that case because we've won the game because of it.
Unlike
Fair
Ed, who won't own up to it and thinks Nketiah should start against Leicester.
I mean, if I'm ever wrong about anything, I will own up to it, but I'm still waiting for that day. And as Laurie said here, at least you didn't jinx it yesterday. Look, this jinxerine thing is a myth. right? Nketiah didn't score. It doesn't exist. I never want to see it again in the chat, right? Because I was right. But I will tell you that I was almost as happy that he didn't score as us winning yesterday, because I wouldn't have heard the end of it. Jessica with the £5 says also crypto. Oh no, we've read that one. There's one here. Can we go back to talking about Chris Wood, please? She says. I think we covered him, unless anyone has anything to add. But before we do, Dazza as well with the $4.99. He says, bet you guys can't name one bad signing this season.
Sounds like a challenge.
Eddie Nketiah for Crystal Palace, mate. How's that?
Harsh.
Wolfie, can you check your WhatsApp, Wolfie?
All right, yeah, okay. Okay. Let's move on and talk about the real question that this stream was built on tonight.
Leicester.
Is a place in Europe now realistic? Let's do it. When I predicted Forest to finish 8th at the start of the season, I got pelters. But who is agreeing with me now? Just to close the vote, I'll put another vote on this. 10% of the chat would still take Nketiah now. Ez, how many Smurf accounts you got, mate? 10%. So are we realistically now in for a shout of Europe? I'll get a poll up. Or is it still too early to call? Crypto, kick us off on this one.
Yeah, I've got to say, after the season we've had so far, there's no reason why we can't go ahead and get a European place next season. It may not be a Champions League place, but Europe, we've got to aim for it. Our defense is one of the best in the league. People can't score against us. And if people can't score against us, we're not going to drop many points. So there's no reason why we can't. Why can't we aim for it? You have these people, I can't remember who it was earlier, someone put a video in the chat saying, oh, Forest shouldn't be 8th. They're a bottom half table team. They won't stay there for long. The way we're playing the way we're playing is different to I've seen us play for 25 years. This is the best season I've ever seen in my Forest.
The promotion season, man.
No, this is better. This is better than the promotion season. We're gonna be in the
this is better.
We're gonna be in the top 7 or 6 teams, I think, come the end of the season. If we can beat big teams and we can do that against teams who we should beat, quite comfortably win, then why not? Why should we not aim for something like that? Leicester did it when they won the Premier League. Why can Forest with this team not aim for a European spot next season?
Okay, just before I bring the next person in, let me just share this with the chat.
The album called from the 80s, man.
Do you get the feeling that? Do you get the feeling that lady was not impressed?
Who is that cool dude there?
That's because the old lady next to him reported him and he had to stand up.
I just got fed up of standing up and sitting down. That wasn't.
Do you notice how everyone's head is not only are they not standing near him, they're all looking away from him as well. It's like that's right there from FFTV. Oh bloody hell, man. You're evil. The wandering turnip. Okay, let's continue with this conversation because this is an interesting one. At the moment, 31% of you are saying yes. So we have 31% happy clappers in the chat. Love my fellow happy clappers. 22% of you are negative Nelly saying no, and 47% are ants. Too early to call. Is that what he's going to do?
I did.
Is that what I'll leave that open. And let's see when the boys talk if any of them can convince you otherwise. Jessica with yet another £20. Jessica, man. Yeah, just unreal. Thank you so much, Jessica. No team has a perfect run, but we've already had our bad patch, the Fulham match. Man, if that's our bad patch, I'll take it, man. We only go up from now on. Europe, here we come. 5th by the end of the Leicester game. That's the attitude I want from you lot in the chat. Thank you so much, Jessica, for yet another generous donation. Ez, what are you saying, man? Race for Europe or too deluded?
No, because if you look at where we are and how we're playing now, without, as we all agreed, some of our first choice players aren't. So we still got key players to come back, and I'm really excited for what we could do in the January transfer window as well, because Nuno's got Mr. M's backing, and if we keep pushing the way we are pushing at the moment, we're in and around the top half of the table, he's going to want to push for Europe. So I'm really confident that we haven't even seen our best team yet, and we're playing the way we are. So the changes that were made over summer, obviously, there was a key area that needed fixing, but they identified that early on. And let's not forget, actually, our defense from open play was one of the best last season. It was our set pieces. We conceded so many goals from set pieces that it took us to the bottom of the ranks in that one. But our open play defense was pretty decent, you know. So the key things that have been fixed, the quality we've got coming off the bench even now, and the options that Nuno's got are better than he's had. And we've only touched on him so far, but Morato. So in the past, when we've had to go to a back three to try and defend our lead, what were the options that we had? We had players like Worrell coming on and Figueiredo and players like that back. Now we've got a Morato. Morato would be a starting defender in at least half the teams in the Premier League, and we're bringing him on as a sub. So
I feel like when he comes on, that's the end. That's the end of the game. No more scoring for you. Morato's on. We're going to see this one out. Yeah.
So being able to bring on that quality off the bench is something that Nuno's not had, and certainly we as Forest fans haven't seen. So all that positivity leads me to think actually we're in a bit of a false position because we haven't even got our best team available at the moment. So I think a push for Europe is definitely on. Definitely on.
If we win on Friday, we should be in third place in the Premier League.
Well, we'll be in fifth place, mate.
I know, but we should have got 3 points prior.
You can't keep doing that.
Can I ask a question?
There'll be games where
hypothetically we should be third.
Can I ask a question? I'm so used to being at the bottom of the table, I don't actually understand, in point of fact, how it works. Where do you have to come to finish in Europe? Is it top 5 or
top
7, isn't it?
Okay, should I do a quick explanation? Okay, let me do a quick explanation. Right, so top 4 would obviously you win the league. Top 4 is Champions League. If our English coefficient is high enough in Europe, then top 5 will be Champions League. That would again give position 6, number 6 as the UEFA Cup, whatever it's called now. And position 7 would go to, and then position 7 is also Europa. Position 7 is conference. However, the FA Cup holds 1 for the Europa League, and the League Cup holds 1. Let me start again. 6 and 7 are both UEFA. Okay. The FA Cup holds a Europa spot, and the League Cup holds a conference spot.
Wow.
So if Man City win the League Cup, for example, then the Europa conference position goes back to the league. So that would knock on down to 8th.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Well,
however, if Man U win the Europa Cup and finish in the top 7,
thank you for that explanation. I'm still none the wiser, but it sounds like we could still even do it with potentially 7th or 8th place.
Well, put it this way: what Anne said is correct. It could go down to 9th, maybe 10th. If Man City won the Champions League and we then had a 5 coefficient for the Champions League, potentially we could have 6 teams in the Champions League. That then knocks everything down another place. The norm is the 7th will get you Europa Conference League. However, with the amount of teams, English teams in Europe this year, they should get the 5th coefficient. The 8th will be up for Europa Conference. If an English club wins the Champions League and an English club wins the Europa Cup, or whatever it's called, and they finish in a league position of those, then it will defer down to 9th, possibly 10th. Last year in Italy, they ended up with 9 positions in Europe, nearly 10. So,
of course, if an English club wins the what's the crappy one called? Conference. They go into the Europa, so that opens up another space in the Europa.
Wow.
Yeah, and the only difference in the positions is having to go through qualifying stages on
Yes.
some of them. So the further down you are, you will go through a qualifying stage before you get into the main round of
Rob, I
each
mean,
country.
if you simplify it, if we give 110% for the rest of the season, the Europa League place
Why
Layman's
can't we give
terms,
120% though?
true.
That's good.
In layman's terms,
Really
if you're in the top 7, you're guaranteed Europe, but it can extend out to 9th. That's the simple definition.
We're
to
in
it.
the mix. We're
Rob,
in the mix.
if you played FIFA instead of Minecraft, you'd know this.
Exactly.
I used to play Pro Evo, actually. I was pretty good at that.
Pro Evo 6.
And kick
Best
off
one.
too, obviously.
Yes, that was one.
Okay. Who hasn't spoken about Europe?
I was just, Lemmy, but I was just going to finish before Lemmy, which is to say, we need to be a bit more ruthless, right? So if we manage to kill off Leicester on Friday night, I will start to believe it's possible. That's the sort of game we need to be ruthless in. But what has me dreaming about this is we've shown we can handle the top teams away from home, Liverpool and Chelsea, right? I mean, it doesn't really get harder than that. So if we can handle that kind of game, the rest we can fix. Lemmy.
God, Joe.
No, I fully agree. And those points that Rob just made are pretty much the backbone of my points. We're not in a false position. I know that a few pundits, especially the salty ones after last night's game, have been going around saying we're in a false position. We're going to start losing a load of games on the bounce and we're going to drop to where we deserve to be. That's absolutely, completely wrong. I don't want to swear. I'm going to try and contain my language. We've played against the Liverpool, who have only lost one game since the start of the season. We're the only team that have beat them, and we beat them at Anfield. So that's clearly a great stake in the ground as to how good that we're playing. We've played against Chelsea, who've been running over teams, and we arguably should have won that game at their ground. We've gone to Brighton, who've been also running over teams and scoring goals for fun, and we managed to grind out a draw, and we arguably shouldn't have conceded a free kick because the ball was put in the wrong place. We've played Bournemouth at home, and we conceded a very early or very late goal, which was kind of just bounced off of the defender from a clearance. We've drawn against Wolves as their only point, but that's from a wonder goal from outside of the box. So arguably, if we're in a false position, it's because we're lower down than where we should be. We should have won more games. There's no way that people are saying that we have managed to win a game out of luck or drawn a game out of luck in comparison to games where we've dropped points where arguably we should have won. You look at the previous record, and I keep going back to this one, and I've looked at this a lot. Nuno Espirito Santo's record when he got Wolves promoted up to the Premier League, and then he got back-to-back places of 7th place, which would get you into Europe nowadays. How did he do that? He did that by maintaining a goal difference of the first season. He got a goal difference of +1, 47 goals scored, 46 goals against. He got a +1 goal difference of winning 16 games, drawing 9, and that got him 7th. The year following on from that, he got a goal difference of +11. So he's not going in winning games by rattling teams 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, like we used to get rattled when we first got promoted. He gets points and gets wins by grinding out games, as we've seen from the starting 8 games. I've seen so many fan accounts and channels from other teams, especially like Arsenal, where they've said, this is the team that I don't want to play because Forest just will not let you win. That we are the team that is now hard to beat. No one wants to play us because you're expected to drop points against Forest because the best you're going to get at the moment is probably a draw. You can't really hope to just win against Forest and get like a 2-0, 3-0 confidence boost to then propel you when you're playing harder teams. They don't want to play us anymore. And we've not experienced that. We are absolutely in the right position to be pushing on for Europe because we don't want to be played against. They don't want to try and play against us because they're not expecting to score more than 1. And we're playing such a great way of counter-attacking football, how Nuno wants to play. He just sets our defence back. He lets them tire themselves out. And then we just absolutely blitz them and we get our goal. It doesn't matter if we're only getting 1 goal. We're getting 3 points because of that 1 goal. There's no way in hell that I'm thinking right now that we have to be worrying about looking down and dropping into the bottom 10 I want to be looking at finishing where we are now and pushing on and beating these, like this big six that we keep bigging on about. Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 of them, if you've got your Arsenal, your Man City and your Liverpool, I'm not expecting us to finish above them, if I'm being perfectly honest. However,
I think we should be careful about that, though, because this time next season will be Big Six.
well, at the moment, quite possibly, like Aston Villa, they're probably doing the same thing, but they're doing it by scoring goals. We're going to do it by not conceding them. We're going to have arguably one of the best defenses in the league. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why Matz Sels is all of a sudden playing out of his skin. We have 2 of the best centre-backs in the league. He doesn't have to worry about passing the ball out to them. He doesn't have to flap about how many shots he's going to get taken against him. He's able to just make these big saves because he doesn't have to face about 20 to 30 shots every game like we used to have to when we had an interchanging centre-back partnership. We are now a team where I feel like, other than your Man City, your Liverpool and your Arsenal, any team that's coming to play us now, home or away, because it used to only be if they were playing us at the City ground, you had to think about worrying about playing us because that was our fortress. We've gone away to Anfield and won. We've gone away to Stamford Bridge and arguably should have won. We are a formidable force, I feel like, and I know that it's still early because it's only 8 games in, but I'm waiting to see a match that's going to contradict my opinion at the moment, and I've just not seen it. So I'm ready for getting my European passport next year.
Just off
how the hell are you going to follow that?
Can I just make one point on what Lemmy said? I think now, after yesterday's match especially, for me, if we're going to sell either MGW or Murillo, which was the question at the start of the season, for me, you've got to keep the defensive pairing now, because we know Anderson can fit in the 10, and we just know that...
We don't need to sell anyone. Why do we need saliva?
We've got Morata anyway.
They'll try and make profit at some point, won't they? They won't just keep...
Not necessarily.
We'll get it from prize money in Europe, mate. Even though it's about 4 million in the Europa.
So your favourite game.
I just want to quickly address this. Red Fan says, someone please stop Jess giving all her money away. It's not a good look for those running FFTV. As Jessica responded, she's an adult and it's her money and she can spend it how she wants. And the boys here, we all give up our time. We all have work. We all have families. We all have kids. We are funded by you guys when we run this, and we appreciate every single one. So I appreciate the sentiment you're saying, Reds fans, but Jessica and everyone else is welcome to just sit there and watch quietly, interact in the chat, or donate and support the channel. It's entirely up to you. The content is there for you guys to do with it, but let's not tell people how to run their own lives.
Or their channels.
Or the channel, yeah.
To be honest, it's a bit weird, a bit of a weird comment now, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, enjoy it how you want to enjoy it.
There's no way that any of us here would take advantage of somebody. And Jess is not, she's not stupid. She's a long-time viewer. You know, she's quite intelligent enough to make up her own mind of what she can and cannot afford.
Well, she wants to meet me, so I don't know.
Plus, it says it's her birthday tomorrow, so
that's the thing that has me questioning her judgment.
It's not my birthday yet. Don't kill it. My birthday's still to come.
And don't think that YouTube channels run themselves for free, by the way. Like equipment, time,
somebody who never comments to make that comment is a bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Okay, let's move on. Let's keep it positive.
Let's not pick on me.
No, it's a point worth addressing. Look, he's entitled to say it, and we're entitled to acknowledge it.
Perhaps it's a genuine concern for the person, you know. But we just like to assure you that there's no way in the world we would ever accept something that we thought was causing somebody an issue. We wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and also it's up to her. But and you need to follow on from Lemmy's speech, and I got a feeling this is going to be pretty shit compared to his. But go on.
No, it's going to be short, not shit. Well, short and shit. No, not you, Ez. I'm not talking about you.
I wasn't thinking me, but now I do.
You know I love you. You know I love you.
Not Friday night with me.
That was splendid. That was splendid. Summary. I went to American then.
Summary.
Situation. Me personally, I'm still a little bit nervous because it's going exactly how I wanted and kind of thought it could go with the squad we have. But we've seen this in the last couple of years, haven't we? Where we thought, well, our squad's not bad. And we end up 16th and 17th. So I'm quietly optimistic. Europe, if Europe goes down to 7th, I think we're pushing it a bit on that. If I'm honest, just my opinion. However, if we could continue to play the way we are right now for the rest of the season, then yes. It's just whether we can maintain that. That's the only.
I feel like this is probably one of the first years where I
concern
genuinely think that we can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
you
main
might be right,
thing
mate.
of that
You might be
is
right.
especially the fact that we've managed to get 3 points against Crystal Palace, who have been a mainstay mid-table team for the past decade, without our starting 3 midfielders. I feel like that's such a
my
statement
main
to be able to make.
That is a big point. I made it earlier on that we won that game yesterday without three of our top players, if you like.
We need to be getting 6 points out of the likes of Brentford and people like that. Honestly, we can do it, but we've really got to start being ruthless and getting 6 points out of.
But you know what's really nice as well, Rob, is that when we go, let's say we were playing Man City on Saturday, I swear to you, I'm not just saying this for effect. I'm not worried. I'm not going up there worried like I was last season that we're going to get hammered.
Like that, they've got more to lose than us.
I think so. If we've been to Anfield, if you can do it there, you can do it anyway. Oh, there's a song, isn't there? You can do it there, you can do it anyway. So I've got no fears now about going away right now because I think our defense is so damn good. And we are so good on the counter attack.
Now that Sels is playing this good, definitely I would agree. Can I do a crypto and just throw a curveball in? We haven't mentioned Moreno. I thought he was outstanding last night. I really liked him.
He was my man of the match. He was my man of the match. We'll do man of the match in a second. We'll go around and do man of the match in a second. Dan, you're on the fence.
I didn't even know, mate. Oh, sorry. I'm talking to somebody in the chat.
Sorry.
Oh, Anne's happy because Arsenal are winning. Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know, mate.
Top on tonight. Anne's got his Man City top on tonight, though.
Man City tonight.
Okay, let's round up with man of the match. Get your man of the matches in the chat, guys. Let's go reverse here. Rob.
Anderson, probably.
You just picked up Moreno and you've got Anderson. Okay, fine.
Shading it from Sels. Well, it was just like the player rating.
Just mention one, man. Stop mentioning the whole team.
Anderson.
I didn't say one. It was him that started winding him up.
I couldn't resist.
You did say Sels. That's straight after because I want to say Sels. Sels. I've said it.
You're going Sels. Okay.
Sels.
And
yeah, once again, it's nice that we have a difficult choice, but I will go Anderson on this one. Just.
Okay. Ben?
Just to piss Ed off, I'm going to say Jota Silva.
Why would that piss me off? He's such a muppet.
Per minute, I would agree.
Sorry, can I change my answer?
No.
You gotta say Taiwo.
Chris Wood.
He's gonna
say Taiwo.
Go on, let me hear you say it.
Per minute, Taiwo, because he played 5 minutes and he was brilliant for that brilliant fight. But no, in all seriousness, it's got to be Matz Sels for me.
Matz Sels. Okay. Loads of Sels in there. Jessica saying, would the £5? Ez say would.
I did say would.
Oh, that's why you did it. Thank you so much, Jessica, for the £5. I hope that's okay with Forest, right?
Cujo's probably right, actually.
Yeah, Henderson, man. Henderson's gotta be a contender in there somewhere. I'm going Moreno. I agree with what Rob said. In that little patch, I said it yesterday, where we looked a little bit ropey. For me, he was the one who still was pushing and tackling well and passing well. So
he does like to put in a tackle, doesn't he? I've noticed that Aina, as much as I like him, he likes to sort of back off. But no, I think Moreno puts in the early tackle, and he's getting about 95% of them. So fair play to him.
His defending's not a concern for me,
120% of them.
No, just 95%. No, but there is a marked difference between them, because you do see Aina drop off because he doesn't like to be beat, and that's fine. That's one way to play. But I feel like Moreno just gets in early. He anticipates, and a lot of those tackles that he wins, he's turning defense into attack.
We should give a shout out as well to Nico Williams, because I think
he was brilliant.
I like that, mate. He changes the back five into an attacking play, basically. We no longer sit back as a back five. We actually have wing play.
Yeah.
But isn't it great? We've got a player like Aina that you can just switch over to the side with no loss of. You know, it's really good.
Okay, just to let you guys know, coming up tomorrow is a Leicester preview with Chappie and also an update. Some of you are asking about this whole Maranaka stuff. I'll see if I can get a video together for it to break down the details. Chappie sent me his thumbnail for his one, and that's what he's done with. I hate him. Chappie will never be coming on the He will never ever be allowed on the channel again after Thursday. Freaking choppy, right?
Never looked
So,
so good. Man. You never
yeah,
looked
so
good.
that's what Chappie has done. Freaking, he's basically on Vardy versus Cooper in there, asshole. Okay, please make sure you've hit the like button if you haven't already. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. It's not Grumpy Old Reds tonight. It was Happy Old Reds. We'll
Yes,
see
you
you
will.
on the videos tomorrow. Come on, you Reds.
You Reds.